Welcome to Speaking of Horses. I'm Wayne Williams, your host, and today we are going to take you to Putnamville, Indiana, to the correctional facility. Now, what goes on here? Well, we bring in retired racehorses to this facility. Then we have inmates from the facility work with, rehabilitate, and retrain for future work these retired racehorses. So join us as we take you on a visit to see all of these retired racehorses and the inmates working with them in action right here. Speaking of Horses, would like to thank some of the people who helped to make Speaking of Horses TV possible. A big thank you to Equine Clot. Equine Clot is a wonderful product. Carry it in your saddlebag, put it in your first aid kit, wrap it on an equine wound. It immediately promotes clotting and is a great first aid tool. Thank you to Equine Clot. And to EquestraSafe, a complete line of equestrian riding products for trail, for arena, for wherever, from reflective vests, reflective headgear, tapes, signage. Everything you need to ride safely and to be safe with your horse is available at EquestraSafe.com. Check them out. Thanks to all of the fine people that make Speaking of Horses TV possible.
And open that door more. Wait a minute, let Jody get a hold of the horse. Yeah, let him get a hold of him.
That ain't gonna fit him.
All right, here we are in Putnamville. Right now I'm sitting next to Barb Holcomb. Now, Barb is, you're the director of this program, right?
Yes, I am.
That's what I thought. I know I can get these titles correct. Barb is the director. Now, Barb, first of all, how long have you been involved in doing this?
We've been here for 6 years.
Okay, so now you bring in the retired racehorses, and then you bring the inmates to them. Tell us how the program got started right here at Putnamville.
Well, at the current time, we had a commissioner and a superintendent that were from Kentucky, and there was already a Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation program at Blackburn Correctional. They went down, they checked it all out, knew that they wanted to bring that to Indiana, and Putnamville was a great choice. We're in the middle of both tracks, and we're convenient to get to, and we have lots of land.
And you've got some nice horses out here we were looking at. So, all right, so now you bring them in, and the horses themselves, you know, need a new career. Their racing days are past for whatever reason, but the horses aren't spent at all. There's still plenty of good years for that horse, right?
Correct. We get horses anywhere from 3 years old and up. Most of the horses are just horses that don't want to race, or maybe the people can't take care of them any longer. Whatever the case may be, we bring them in, do a turnaround on them. If they've been on the track, you know, we take everything away from them and then get them on different feed, a basic feed, and grass hay. And then the guys start working with them every day. It's hands-on. They groom them every morning. They check them out for any injuries, marks, you know, from playing at night with the other horses. And then we start working with them hands-on in the paddock. And this happens every day.
So tell us about bringing the inmates to it now. That's got to be a rewarding situation as well, right?
It is. The way I kind of look at it is you have horses that have either they've given you 110% and no longer are they in that capacity, so they have to find a way to reestablish themselves. And the same thing with the guys. You know, whatever reason they ended up in prison, and they need to find some way to reinvent themselves and try to find something productive. And I believe that the horses kind of help heal the soul. It gives them self-worth, teaches them compassion and responsibility, and they really get a lot out of it for emotional reasons too.
Now, there are, I know some of the inmates that come here have worked with horses before, but many of them haven't. It's a brand new experience, right?
Correct. I'd probably say 90% of the guys we get are inner city, have never touched a horse. So this is a completely new experience. And this is the closest thing they have to freedom, too. I mean, you can't see any barbed wire from here. And they are one-on-one with the horse. And they learn how to bond with that animal. So it's a learning experience, and it's something that just is amazing. You have to see it to believe it.
You know, there's an interview that we're going to show you in a little bit with a couple of the inmates that we did that are actually working with the horses, and it's amazing what they had to say about how the horse has taught them so much.
Oh, definitely. You know, they have to conduct themselves a certain way when they're in prison. They can't be a marshmallow, you know, that doesn't get along very well in the criminal atmosphere. So it's funny when you get these great big hardcore guys and they come out here, and the next thing you know, they're in a stall with a horse. Oh, there's my baby. Where you been? I got peppermints for you. Things like that. It's kind of funny to see a grown man that's supposed to be, you know, a criminal, they learn to put down their walls, and they learn to trust that animal, and the animal trusts them. You know, some of these horses have come out of an abusive situation they don't trust. You know, society has kind of pushed them off to the side, and so has it happened for whatever reason with the men. And so together they kind of heal themselves. You know, they learn to trust and to give and to take. We've got horses that are aggressive, and you know, I have one of the men that you spoke to is with one of the aggressive horses, and not everybody can get along with this horse. He's very pushy, he bites, and he kicks. But he's been rescued twice, so he doesn't trust humans at all. And it's hard on him because he builds that bond. He finally connects with somebody, and then they're done. Luckily for him, he's connected with my mentor, so he's here longer. And so he hasn't had the big change again, but as soon as it changes hands to another guy in the program, he becomes back to that aggressive. He's gotten a little bit better, but he doesn't trust.
Well, you know, there are programs in the West where inmates work with. In Wyoming, there's one where they work with the horses from the BLM. So they round them up and bring in the Mustangs. And in watching some of that happen, you know, the Mustangs themselves, just due to their nature of being wild on the range and having to fend for themselves, are much slower to trust a human than a horse that was born in captivity, imprinted early, and has been around humans all their life. But once you get through that barrier, once you get that trust, then you've got something. And I think with these racehorses, it would be the same. Once this gentleman got through that front, which was tougher than most, then he had a friend for life.
Absolutely. And you know, it really does take a horse person to understand that, because we've been around him, we've seen it, we've connected. So it's really neat when you see somebody that has never even touched a horse, unless it's been at a petting park or something like that, a circus or whatever, and just see that connection and see how they start trusting that animal and the animal starts trusting them. It's just amazing. And you know, I always tell them too, you can't go in there and expect this 1,000-pound animal to do everything you say. You got to learn to get that respect from him before they start trusting you to do what you ask.
Now, when you bring the inmates in here, the group for the first time, a new group, whatever, how do you indoctrinate them into what they're going to do, and what are they allowed to do, and what are they not allowed to do in and around the horses?
They have to stay in sight and sound of me at all times. So, you know, we're in a pretty big, vast area, so they know that and they understand that. They respect that whole point of this program. And once they go through classification, it decides who's the best candidate for being out here. And so I really haven't had any problems with that. The first day, I pretty much go over what I expect of them. We talk about rules and regulations, and they have to abide by them. We talk about our conduct and how we present ourselves, because we get a lot of activity of people stopping by and wanting to see the program. So they have to learn to conduct themselves in a certain manner. And I've been very blessed that I've had good men that have done that. I've never had an issue with that. And then they start learning the hands-on process. And I usually start them out with a really, really easy horse. I don't want them to be scared the first day, but it's amazing. You'll see them and, you know, they're like, well, how do we do this or how do we do that? And I'm like, believe it or not, you're going to learn this. And so when they get to the end of the program, they're like, I can't believe all the things we've learned to do. And a lot of it, what I have found works the best, isn't so much a stand here and lecture and lecture and lecture, because they see it, they hear me say it, but if they do it, they learn so much quicker and it stays with them. So I really, really push those teachable moments. Like if I have a horse that has pulled something, I'm like, come on guys, this is a teachable moment, and we work on something at that point in time. they learn it quicker, it stays with them.
Now, we've got shots, I know, in here that we're going to be showing you here through the show of where they're actually, treating thrush, where they're doing some wounds and some eye treatments. So as it progresses, they can do certain treatments. I know it's under your guidance, and one of the gentlemen pointed out that anything medical, they have to come right to you before anything's done. But what do you do then about finding homes for these horses down the road?
We have a website, thoroughbredretirementfoundation.org, and you can go on there and you can apply. You do have to find the area of the critiquing of your capabilities and the requirements, and you have to abide by all that. You fill out your paperwork, you send it in. If it's approved, then they pass it on to whatever farm you're closest to, and then we match it up trying to find a horse. The person comes out and tries up different horses at any different levels. Sometimes we'll have somebody, I just had an adoption last week, it was last week or the week before, and this girl was looking for a strong riding horse. Well, when I gave her 3 different levels, and it turned out she wanted the beginner level because this horse was quiet, he's kind of a clown, and Opening Bob is his name, and Kat and him they clicked right off the bat. And the people we get are from all over. We get girls from St. Mary of the Woods that want eventing horses. We get them that are wanting jumper horses, or we have a few horses that are school horses at the college. And I have a girl over in Missouri she's adopted 4 horses, and she's using them for therapeutic riding. So we're all over the board.
So also what you're saying is you take these retired horses, mainly thoroughbreds, I'm assuming, all thoroughbreds. They're really suitable for a variety of things, basically whatever you wanted to do, right?
Yes. The majority of the horses here, since it's just me teaching the men, they're pretty much taught to get on the horse and just walk, trot, and canter, reverse, back up, those kind of things. What I would consider breaking and training, they're not capable of doing. They're not in the program long enough to learn all those capabilities. I'm confident that you cannot take somebody and take a few months and teach them to be the best trainer or the right trainer for each horse. You know that, and I know that. It takes a long lifetime to learn all those skills. These guys just get on and we see how the horse moves, we see what it takes to control them. And if these guys can ride them, the majority of the people out there that are horse people can ride them.
Well, you're basically bringing the inmates and the horses along together because they're helping each other. But what you wind up with is a better horse, which if they're on riding, like you say, even at just a minimal walk, trot, and canter in the small pen that you have here, that's a big help, all right? And then secondly, you are bringing along the inmates, and they're learning life lessons that I'm sure is going to help them down the road as they get out and go back into more society with all the people. Those lessons are going to carry through. Absolutely.
We have a couple of guys that are working with horses in different capacities. I have one that is working with breaking and training, and I believe the farm is a reining farm. It's in Bloomington. And he's getting along very well. He had a little bit of horse knowledge when he came into the program, so he had a little bit of advantage. The other gentleman, he had got on his aunt's pony and rode, and that kind of riding experience. And he's working for Swifty Farms, which is the largest thoroughbred facility in the state of Indiana. So, we've lucked out with good people that support this program and follow this program and help us any which way they can.
I got to tell a quick story here because you were talking about he just got on his aunt's pony or whatever and rode. I remember a few years ago, Larry Mahan was at the Hoosier Horse Fair in Indianapolis, and Larry was the 5-time all-around rodeo champion. And his rodeo days were over, but he decided he wanted to be a round pen trainer and break out horses. So he told his father, who was still alive, that he wanted to go out and break horses. And his dad says, well, what do you know about horses? And he said, well, I've been riding them for years. He said, yeah, for 8 seconds. Can you ride them longer than that? And he said, I really had to think about that one because as soon as the 8-second buzzer went off, I was done, right? And he said, I didn't mean I had accomplished anything with the horse. It just meant that I stayed with him for 8 seconds. And I got a kick out of Larry telling that because he's like, I really had to think about that statement.
Oh, I agree. There's a lot of people that think because they've rode one capacity that they're a good trainer. I think a good trainer comes from years and years and years of studying that animal and studying why that animal acts a certain way and how you get animals to act in a different way, and what you need to learn those skills and those abilities to achieve that. And that comes with a lifetime.
Yeah. It's sort of like a kid in school. You can teach them anything once you have their mind set to learn. If their mind is not clicked in learning mode, you can't teach them anything. And it's the same thing with a horse.
Oh, absolutely. If that horse doesn't want to listen to you that day, it's not going to happen.
Well, Barb, thank you, and it's a great program. Now, what we're going to do right now, we're going to show a little bit of your indoctrination with inmates as they come into the program. We're going to show you some shots of the inmates working horses, doctoring horses, doing the general care, and I got a really nice interview with the two gentlemen about what it's meant to them. So thank you, Barb, very much.
Thank you very much.
Now stay with us on Speaking of Horses, because we got more coming right here as we work the retired racehorses in to the program here at Putnamville at the correctional facility, with the inmates gaining a lot of experience as well. We'll be right back with that. Well, we'd like to take a moment and thank people who make Speaking of Horses TV possible. We want to thank One Source Nutrition, the perfect blend of nutrients to help your horse. It's One Source Nutrition. And Revitavet, equine light therapy, for either toning up muscles before competitions or to promote rapid healing. You want Revitavet. Equine Savings. This program can save you up to 25% on tractors, stable equipment, yes, and even on barn paint. Be sure and go to Equine Savings and check it out. To Hoosier Horse Trailers. Quality horse trailers, living quarters, you and your horse can ride in comfort. And Saratoga Stalls, classic equine stalls built specifically for you. Thank you to Saratoga Stalls. And thanks to everyone who makes Speaking of Horses TV possible.
Okay, I'm Barb Holcomb, and this is Equine Management. The purpose of this program is to get you accustomed and acquainted with thoroughbreds and their behaviors and their ailments, how to take care of them on a daily activity, and learn the ins and outs of the equine industry. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to learn the parts of the horse. In this book, on page 62, the same chart that's up there, you're going to learn all the parts of the horse, and you'll be tested on those next week. There's also diagrams in some of the books on the parts of the hoof and parts of the lower leg, and you'll be expected to know that. We'll be going through the equine management book throughout the course of your 1,000 hours. You'll learn basic care and management skills for equine management. Is that done? I'm like, more. Every day you'll be expected to take care of the horses you are assigned to. You'll have like 4 or 5 horses. You will be responsible for their daily care, their upkeep, their feed, any injuries that they would encounter, and you will be held accountable for taking care of those horses.
What about
Yeah. If you got questions, bring them. What about Madison?
Yeah, we give them the shots and all that good stuff.
Yeah, you're going to learn how to administer medicine, whether it be in pill, paste, or injectable. You'll learn how to give vaccinations. You'll be here and be present to assist the vet in any kind of care. Like Friday, we will do, the vet will be here and we will do dentistry, so you'll be assisting him also.
Would you say things such as farrier work or worming them or any of that good stuff?
Yes, you will be helping the farrier, and you'll be able to ask them questions, learn how to rasp the foot, how the foot should travel when it's correctly trimmed, and be able to learn how to do that also.
So the injuries that the horses have, we'll learn whether they're permanent, whether they can be treated. I mean, you'll teach us this, or
Exactly.
the vet will teach us this?
Both. I mean, people come in and visit the program, and you will learn how to take care of that. Like, if there's a horse that foal's attendant, you're going to learn how to take care of that, soak the foot, wrap the foot, and how to give the medicine for that foot. Ready? Whoa. Back him up a step. Why are you being so big? Okay. See when they start dripping like this? You want to do is you hold it open. A little bit of this in there. Yeah. Let it get in there. Okay? So then tomorrow when that's still weepy, you need to put it in right here. Just let it smooth it along. Let's go ahead. You want to try the second arm? And it just takes a little dollop, not very much. 14 north, 13 north. Oh, did you get it? Okay. 195, 13 north. Okay. Whoa. Got it? Okay. And do that tomorrow too.
Okay.
There you go. You're good.
Well, we're here with Speaking of Horses, and we are going through the program at a correctional facility in Indiana, in Putnamville, Indiana, where they take racehorses off of the track, bring them here, and they retrain the horses for future careers. I have Chris and I have Gary. Now, I'm going to start with Gary. You're the graduate, right, Gary? So tell us, I mean, I know we're helping these horses. The horses are getting helped in redirecting and finding careers, but the horses are also helping you guys. So just tell us about the program and how you're helping the horses, and more importantly, how they're helping you.
Yeah. I'd say just helping me by helping get a peace of mind, you know, come out here and have a little companionship, and I'm from the country, so just getting out, and a little piece of home, you know, kind of getting away from the prison, you know. It helps me just to get out here and get my thoughts together and get calmed down, you know, be away from all the craziness.
You know, I've heard people say that if they're having a real bad day, they go to the barn for an hour, and it totally puts their mind back in perspective.
Yeah, I have a little rock out back that I sit around, you know. I go out there by myself usually about once a day, just sit there on the rock and look out and watch the coyotes come up, or the deer cross, or the turkeys, or whatever, you know, whatever happens to be there that day, and just sit and think and clear my head.
You know, the saying too is, if you're working with horses, or especially if you're riding, you can travel the whole country or the world by car, and you can see what man has made. But you can travel it or see it with a horse, and you see what God has made, and it makes a whole difference.
Yeah, I believe that's true.
So, how are these race horses to work with?
No, it's pretty fun. Some of them are aggressive. That's the kind I look for, is the one that's more of a challenge, you know. If they're all calm and just subtle, I don't really care that much, you know. I like something that keeps me on my toes, keeps my mind occupied. So.
And once again, you talked about redirecting your mind. You take them, you can redirect their mind away from the things they learned. And as soon as you get their mind redirected, then it opens up and you can do a lot of other things, right?
Yeah. Like I said, the ones that are calmer, you know, the guys that come in, I train them. I let them start off with those. But I look for the ones that are more aggressive, and they'll start off that way, kicking and biting and stuff like that. And by the time that I hand them down to someone else, they're usually a little different. You know, they're not biting and kicking as much, but that's what I look for.
Yeah. Chris, how long have you been doing this?
7 months or so.
So were you into horses at all beforehand?
As far as looking at them, yeah. As working with them, no.
So what have you learned in this program?
I learned it's a team effort here. They can't clean up after themselves. They can't feed themselves, and we bring them in, groom them, pick out their hooves, and gives you a peace of mind, a sense of worth, because you know you're doing it for a good cause, and puts me in a little peace of mind, 'cause being in prison all day, then coming out here, you don't feel like you're in prison.
Yeah, you know, you're helping the horses, but in that indirect method, it's helping you a lot at the same time.
Oh yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
Gets me focused, realize what I got to gain, not to lose, because get home back to my daughter and get things right. Just puts me in a better mindset instead of being around negativity and all the violence that goes with the prison life.
You know, the negativity is a big thing, and you talk about that. With the horses, the other thing, working with horses, and I'm sure you've learned this and you're learning this or have learned it, horses don't understand a joke. They don't understand anything. Horses are true to form. You know, if you are honest with the horse in every move you make, and this always means this, you know, you'll get them on your side in a heartbeat. If you are not consistent with them, if you try to shortcut or do things or things that they don't relate, you know, this always has to mean this. And if you're honest and true to form, they'll come right to you. And that's a great life lesson.
Yeah, especially working with horses because they can sense everything. They can feel things more sensitive than humans.
Aren't they telepathic? They really figure it out, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They know who they can and can't boss and what to and not to do.
It's like the kids that went on the dude string ride, you know, where they never been on a horse in their life, and they bring out the most gentle horse in the string, and they say, "That's horse's bomb-proof, no problem." And the kid gets bucked off of that horse because if you get on that horse and you're afraid and you're sending it the wrong signals, that horse picks up on that immediately.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. You can tell which ones they're going to come in trying to boss you, and as long as you maintain that you're in charge, you're number one in the pecking order, so to speak, then you got something, right?
Yeah, I try to explain that to a couple of new guys when they first come out here. You know, they come out from prison, they're sticking their chest out, trying to show how tough they are and all that. And we got one horse out here he's real aggressive. You know, he wants to bite and he wants to kick, no matter who you are. And I take care of him every day, and he still wants to bite and kick me. You know, but. Next thing you know, they'll just be on their own, go out there and try to grab the horse, bring him in, try to think they're going to take care of him, and it ain't 10 seconds to come flying out of the stall like, "I ain't doing that. I don't want no part of that horse." I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Now, what message are you sending to that horse whenever I got to go in there next? So you just let him think that he can scare you out of there, and then he's going to try it on me every time. So
Teaches you how to be humble, and your pride don't get the best of you.
We at Speaking of Horses would like to thank the people who have made Speaking of Horses TV possible. To Equessentials, all your horse grooming, coat and care products specifically designed for your horse. A thank you to King Barns, custom-built barns, any style, any project you'd like. Get a hold of King Barns. To Overland Carts, if you want that versatile utility cart for your stable that can do anything, check out Overland Carts. Stall Butler, a unique design on how you can muck your stalls and save 90% of your shavings for reuse. Check out Stall Butler. And Eagle Erie Equine, modular systems for saddle racks, tack bars, and the like. Totally organize your tack room with Eagle Erie Equine. Thanks to all of these fine people who make Speaking of Horses possible.